This is our first charm opening in the 3.0 patch. I don't know if anything changed about what you could possibly get or anything like that. But we're gonna find out. We got a lot of them. We're gonna talk about them, and that's what we do. Here we go. Right off the bat, not a lot. Oh, okay, we got a fair amount of red on the right side. I like that. But our first talisman here, not great. Y'all heard me talk about Counter-Strike in the past. It's very, very niche for what it gives you. It gives you a good bonus, but it's something that's very niche and something that comes up less the better you get at the game. So I don't really think it's that great. And earplugs is fine, but very quality of life and not really needed for anything. The 2 slot on here is okay, but I don't think this is really usable. Evade Extender and Flinch Free. Evade Extender is an amazing skill on almost every weapon. Can get some good use out of it. And Flinch Free is kind of like a necessity for multiplayer, especially if you're using melee weapons. But nothing rolled high enough for this, and no slots means this isn't really great. Evade Window is a little bit different than Extender. It makes it so your invincibility window is a little longer. I actually think I might prefer Extender in this one, compared to Window. I was a big proponent of Window in World, but not as big in this game for me. Maybe part of that is just because you have so much more mobility and stuff anyway. Being able to move out of the way feels more useful in most cases than being able to be invincible through something. I don't really like Item Prolonger though, so not really worth using. We've talked about Affinity Sliding a lot. That skill feels more niche in this one than it did in World, which is too bad because it's a powerful effect. That said, the 2 slot and 2 in Constitution, I could see this being used for like a dual blade build. Especially if you know some of the spaces in the maps where you can get that affinity sliding. It'll at least give you that bonus for a little bit when you like enter a zone to fight something, but probably not worth it. You can get a better combo, but it's okay. 2 Constitution is nothing to sneeze at. 3 Recoil Down and 2 Bubbly Dance. Recoil Down, I think, is a 1 slot, but the 2 Bubbly Dance, if you're doing a Bubbly Dance Resuscitate build, even on like a bow, you could make a bow build out of that fairly well. I guess does Recoil only care about bow guns? Yeah. So, if this was reload speed, I think it would be better and you could make a pretty good bow build out of it, but if you're really trying to do a Bubbly Dance build with light bow gun, I guess this works, but it's not great. We talked about both of those skills. I don't like them. Rapid Morph is amazing. This talisman is too low to be used. Recoil Down again with Razor Sharp. Unfortunately, if that was Spare Shot instead of Razor Sharp, this would be okay. But Razor Sharp only affects things that have sharpness, which bowguns don't. And Recoil Down is for bowguns. So, kind of a non-bow here, unfortunately. Oof. Oof. Muck Resistance. There's like 2 fights where Muck Resistance comes up, and it's a tier 1 slot if you really want it. Counter-Strike we talked about. A tier 2 slot is decent, but this is not really... This gem is disappointing. Or this talisman is disappointing. We've talked about both these skills. That's actually a good combo, because Constitution, it reduces stamina from evading, and Evade Window makes your evades better. So it's actually a pretty good combo. But they both rolled at 1 pip, so not really good enough, unfortunately. Guard Up is great for things with shields. Having 1 point in it lets you block unblockable attacks. It's an amazing skill. I highly suggest it if you are someone who likes to block or guard. Make sure you have 1 guard up. You don't want to have 1 guard up for your whole talisman, but it's a great skill. Blast Attack is one of the status attacks that are a tier 2 gem now, so they're harder to get. But only 1 pip and no slots on this talisman means it's probably not worth it. Slugger is a great skill. Especially if you're using Hammer, especially if you're using Hunting Horn. Getting bonus stuns is amazing. Bombardier is not a skill I like very much. It makes the bombs that you can place from your item pack do more damage. It's pretty substantial more damage. But the fact that you can make this a Slugger 3 with that slot, and bombs are useful, so like getting 2 incidentally is fine. This is totally a usable talisman if you're looking for a Slugger talisman. Y'all know how I feel about resistances. They're 1 gem slots. They are too easy to get. So you don't want to see them on your talismans. Defense boost, also a tier 1. This is a really low power and nothing that you really are looking for talisman. Again, resistances, windproof, similar to earplugs, is a nice quality of life, but not a lot of fights really care about it, so it's kind of feels like a wasted skill. But we got some reds coming up here. Oh my god! Why? Carving Pro and Leap of Faith. Both of these skills are valued higher in this game than I feel like they should be. I don't know why the game values them so high when it's rolling these random talismans. Carving Pro, you don't get knocked back while carving. I guess I could have gotten that one Narwa tail earlier if I had Carving Pro. So there's your use case. Leap of Faith lets you do the Superman dive towards monsters, but I don't really think it feels good. I think it feels bad. The amount of time it takes you to stand up afterwards, and you have to be sheathed to do it. Like, it all just feels... I'm sure there's people who like it. I don't like it. The tier 3 slot's good, but this is such a disappointment. Flinch free 3 with paralysis attack 1 and 2 slots. Ah, that's unfortunate. Paralysis attack is a tier 2 gem, so it's harder to get. But you only really need flinch free 1 for multiplayer. You don't want the 3. And it's taking up so much value on this talisman. You only got tier 1 slots on it. So not as good as you would have hoped. Or I would have hoped. Geologist is great for farming, but only 1 pip. Not really anything. Tremor resistance. Just like windproof. Just like earplugs. It can be nice. There are so few monsters that are going to do it to you. Okay. Thunder Attack 3. Those are tier 1. Recoil down, I think, is also tier 1. I guess if you really are looking for a thunder ammo bowgun, this is usable. Because it's got so many pips in it. With the tier 2 slot letting you put in like a spare shot or something. But not great. You're really looking for higher tier skills on the talisman. Wall Runner is weird and incidental, not really anything you're looking for. Getting it to tier 3 gives you a attack boost, but finding the opportunities to make sure you can wall run and then attack afterwards are kind of few and far between, and not really that useful. Just getting like raw attack boost is almost always a better choice. So this is kind of a bad gem. Critical Element, okay. And Punishing Draw with 2 tier 1s. This is usable if you're looking for a Critical Element build. Critical Element lets you get more elemental damage when you crit. Elemental damage doesn't crit the same way that regular damage does. The raw damage on a crit scales with the crit, and the elemental damage scales with the crit. But when you get critical boost, it only does it to raw, and when you get elemental boost, this one, the elemental critical, it only does it to the critical. So it can be good, but critical damage, or elemental damage in general, is not really, not really going to give you the same numbers that raw crit does anyway. So it's usually not worth running. But punishing draw can be fun. Oof, stun resistance. It's maybe one of the best resistances. At least if you're using, like, Great Sword, so you can not get stunned out of some of your rage slashes and stuff. And Bludgeoner has a place, but now that we're in tier 3.0 and Rise, it's a little bit less useful. A lot of the weapons keep getting ranked up higher, getting better sharpness values. There's still places for it. Bludgeoner, if you have Bludgeoner 3 and you're using a weapon that only gets green sharpness, getting that 10% attack boost is pretty great. But the two tier 1s, if there was a tier 2 in here so you could make it Bludgeoner 3, I would like this one a lot better. Counter-Strike and Weakness Exploit. This is usable. We've talked about Counter-Strike. Weakness Exploit is just good, though, on a lot of builds. It gives you a massive critical modifier, a chance to crit, a massive one when you're hitting parts of the body with a 45 or higher when you're looking in the Hunter notes about it. 45 is like, this is a weak spot, quote-unquote. But it gives you a lot of value. And so, if you don't have a Weakness Exploit charm yet and you're looking for it, this is usable because Counter-Strike is still going to give you something when you mess up, when you get knocked over, which is pretty decent. Steadiness 2, Thunder Resist. Oh, all these resistances, man. Steadiness is about deviation on heavy bowguns. It's fine. But this is kind of a bad talisman because it doesn't give you the things you're looking for. It's only giving you incidentals with a tier 2 gem slot. But that's okay. Red. Oh, come on. This is red because of the tier 3 slot. 1 defense boost, 1 counter-strike. We've seen Counter-Strike 2 on lower rarity gems. Like, this is a bad talisman. Geologist and Botanist. Getting both of them together is good for a gathering build. They both rolled at 1, though, unfortunately. So, if this had been like Geologist 3, Botanist 1, with the 2 slots, you could have been like, cool. Let me load in some more Botanist or gems and get a good farming talisman out of it. I actually have a better talisman for this already. I have a red talisman with Botanist 4 and 3 tier 1s, which I can slot 3 Geologist into. But the skills are good together. It's just that they aren't really useful for most of what you're doing. Windproof with reload speed. Again, windproof not really great. Reload speed is good if you can get it to 2. But since this only has tier 1 slots on it, it's not really worth using. Stamina Thief is good on Hunting Horn and, like, Exhaust File, Switch Axes. But the Poison Attack is the only status attack that's a tier 1 gem, so this is kind of a weak charm. It's only rarity 3. This could have rolled way higher already. So not great. Okay. This is interesting. Stamina Thief. So, exhaust damage happens from blunt damage as well. Which you get from getting the, like, stun damage on punishing draw. So, like, hammers do stamina damage. So Stamina Thief is okay for that. But what's more interesting about this is because it's getting it on punishing draw, these kind of combo together decently. In order to give you a little bit of extra stamina damage, exhaust damage, on your draw attack, no matter what weapon you're using in order to do that KO damage. You would have rather seen Slugger instead of Stamina Thief. That would have made a better talisman here. But you also have a tier 3 slot in there, which makes you able to put like a handicraft or something in here. This one is usable. Not amazing, but usable. We've talked about these resistances. I hate them. This is bad. Part Breaker. I love Part Breaker. Getting part breaks on monsters makes them flinch. Getting them more frequently makes them flinch more. It also makes you cut tails faster. I just like Part Breaker. Unfortunately, this rolled too low to be great. 1 Resuscitate. Resuscitate, I have almost never found on talismans for some reason. Which is unfortunate, because I want to make some cool Resuscitate build at some point. But this is only 1. No slots. Not good enough. Defense boost and resistances over and over. Trash. Fortify and paralysis. Ugh. Paralysis resistance. If this was paralysis attack, I'd be like, okay. But the tier 3 gem, the tier 3 slot, and the tier 1 slot, like, it's got good slots, but Fortify is a skill that gets less useful the better you get at the game, because you're not fainting as much, you're not carding as much. Fortify, as you can see, gives you a bonus each time you faint. Pretty big bonus, but the bonus is from fainting, so the better you get at the game, the less useful it is. And I don't like resistances. They're all tier 1 slots. Like, you can make this paralysis resist 3, fortify 1, and whatever 3 slot gem you want, but like, no. No. Critical element 2, if you're trying to do that critical element thing, this opens up a lot of armor potential for you. I wish it had at least a slot on it, but 2 critical element is okay. Attack boost 1, unfortunately just rolled way too low to be good. Attack boost is great, but you want it, like, I have an attack boost 3 charm with a couple tier 1 slots on it. This isn't good enough. Poison attack and sleep attack. I don't think that's a combo of weapons you can really get. Maybe you can do it with dual blades? I don't know if you can make dual blades have 2 statuses. I think it's only like an element and a status. If you do the rampage ones, you can like pick them. To make like a 2 type thing. But I don't think these ones fit together. So, unfortunately, with only a tier 1 slot, this isn't really good enough. Fire resistance and evade window. We talked about evade window. I like it, but this isn't very good. Another poison attack, sleep attack, but it's just strictly worse. The other one was 3 poison attack with the same slots. Still not good. Bludgeoner paralysis attack. Okay. This might be usable if you're running a paralysis attack thing that has a low sharpness. But it kind of rolled too low to really look great. No good slots on it. Unfortunate. Stamina Thief and Thunder. We got so many resistance. Okay, we got 2 reds left. It's fine. Sleep attack 2 with a 3 slot. This is okay. If you're trying to make a sleep build, sleep attack 2, the 3 slot gives you any gem you want, including making this sleep attack 3. This is usable. You can make that 3 gem anything you want. That could be a handicraft. This is okay. Stamina Thief, Divine Blessing. I like Divine Blessing a lot as a quality of life skill. It is a tier 2 gem. but it just gives you reduced damage sometimes, which is great. Especially if you're a sloppy player like me. We've talked about Stamina Thief. You can make this a Stamina Thief 3, but it doesn't really have anything that shouts to me like... A lot of times you want your talisman to have a really important skill for your build, and this doesn't have those. So unfortunate, but I do like Divine Blessing. Blast attack, if you're looking for blast, a blast build, that is a tier 2 gem status, but only 1 pip. So really unfortunate. I wish this was better. Evade window 2, fire resistance. Resistances, man! Not good enough, but one more red. Okay. This is okay. Because of the slots. Rapid Morph is amazing for Switch Axe. Also very good on Charge Blade. But the fact that it's got 2 and 2 tier 2 slots means you can throw a third one in there to make this Rapid Morph 3, and then any other 2-slot gem you're looking for. So this is usable. I wish Dragon Resistance was like Speed Sharpening or something that is more universally useful. But this is usable. Not amazing, but definitely usable. And that's it. The sleep attack one, pretty decent. This one is probably our best one that we got, unfortunately. Like, everything we got today was fine, but nothing amazing. But that's it for me today, everybody. I gotta go. Hi, everyone. I just want to invite you to come hang out with me on twitch.tv/thatneilj, where you can watch these openings happen live. Sometimes I'll open up my lobbies to do hunts with viewers, and you can even choose which weapon I'm going to go to each hunt with. Thanks.